Welcome to the Deep Dive, the show where we take your sources, your articles, all that research,
Hmm.
and really try and, boil it down to the key insights. Today, we're digging into, well, a pretty charged and fascinating topic, the recent political stuff surrounding the Epstein files and former President Donald Trump. So our mission here really is just to unpack what the source material you've given us actually reveals about it all.
Yeah.
Why it's stirring things up and what core issues you wanted us to explore.
Exactly. And our goal, like always, is to give you that clear, concise understanding. We're trying to go beyond just a summary, really distill the core insights from these documents, help you navigate the perspectives reported in them, the critical details, so you walk away informed.
Without getting totally lost in the noise.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So for you listening in, the central question we're tackling is, what specific insights does this source material offer, about this apparent rift? And what are the key details about Trump's actions and the reactions that stand out? Okay, so the heart of this story, what our source tells us, lies in a pretty significant rift.
Yes.
Seems to be forming now within Donald Trump's MAGA base. That's his core Make America Great Again support.
Right. And what's really striking, according to the source, is that this division stems directly from Trump apparently reversing course on a pretty prominent campaign promise
Which was?
to release the so-called Epstein files to the public.
Okay. That promise.
Yeah, that reversal seems key. What's highlighted in the source material is Trump's current position, which is reported as a direct denial
The denial of what exactly?
of the very existence of a client list belonging to Jeffrey Epstein.
Denying the list exists at all.
And just for anyone needing a quick refresher, the source describes Jeffrey Epstein as, a powerful, very well-connected investor who, before his death, faced charges for sexual trafficking and assault.
Right, involving numerous teenage girls and young women.
Exactly. And these Epstein files, well, they're widely understood, or at least perceived, to contain really sensitive information.
Like names, potentially.
Potentially names, yeah. Individuals allegedly associated with his activities. That's the general understanding reported.
Okay, so why is this specific reversal hitting such a raw nerve? Why is it being seen as, well, the source says, a profound betrayal by many of his supporters?
Well, what the source indicates is they view it as him reneging, going back on those broader sort of foundational promises he made.
Like drain the swamp, that one.
Exactly. That really powerful slogan about rooting out perceived corruption, elite influence, and exposing what these supporters, according to the source, firmly believe is proof of, deep-seated criminal corruption.
So it really strikes at the core of what they felt he stood for.
It seems to. And if we connect this to the context the source provides, the perceived corruption they wanted exposed, it's often primarily targeted at, quote, democratic elites. That's the term used here.
Okay. So that adds another layer to their frustration then.
It does. It suggests that for many, that promise, drain the swamp, it wasn't just abstract talk.
No, it was about exposing specific networks, in their view.
Which, raises questions about how political promises, especially ones that tap into core beliefs like that, are heard, and how, whether they're fulfilled or not can really build up or erode loyalty.
Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting. Kind of complicates the dynamic. Our source also points out Trump's reported countermove.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
His insistence that his supporters just drop their fixation on Epstein-related stuff, calling them, and this is a quote from the source, conspiracy theories that his people have long nurtured.
Wow. Okay, so telling his own base
Yeah.
to back off theories that, as the source puts it, his own camp helped nurture.
Seems like quite a calculated shift in messaging, urging them to move on from something they've been really invested in.
That's a fascinating moment, isn't it? For understanding that relationship between a leader and their, most dedicated supporters. And the consequence of this, the seemingly abrupt change, is quoted in the source from Rolling Stone's Asawin Swebsang.
Right. What does Subsang report?
He reports that Trump's stance is, quote, making it exceedingly difficult for some of his biggest supporters and boosters to not start at least suspecting that he has something to hide.
That's pretty direct. Suspecting he has something to hide.
Yeah, it apparently creates this significant tension, right, between their loyalty and this perception of transparency, or maybe lack thereof.
And to give that quote a bit more weight, the source notes that Subsang has been specifically reporting on this area, tracking the fallout from how Trump and his Attorney General Pam Bondi handled the Epstein case.
Right, so he's been following the specific thread and its impact. He's got context.
Okay. So what this whole situation kind of forces us, and you listening, to consider is, what does it reveal about, political expectations? The nature of loyalty.
How information flows or
Yeah.
doesn't flow.
Right. Within a political base.
Hmm.
What the source seems to reveal here is this really interesting tension. How a leader's strategic pivot, maybe for their own reasons,
Mm-hmm.
can directly clash with a base whose loyalty was built on a very specific, almost, literal reading of these big campaign promises.
Exactly. This case really gives us a unique lens, a way to look at that dynamic between those big sweeping promises you make on the campaign trail
Yeah.
and then the complex realities of, well, governing or even post-presidency actions.
Yeah.
It highlights how quickly perceived betrayals, right or wrong, can just ignite these intense reactions, especially when you're dealing with super sensitive, highly scrutinized stuff like the Epstein case.
Okay, so let's try and sum up what we've unpacked today from your materials. The source material seems to meticulously detail this reported reversal, a reversal by Donald Trump on a really significant campaign promise about the Epstein files.
Yeah, one that clearly resonated with his base.
Right. And this has led, according to the source, to pretty clear and growing friction within that MAGGIA base.
Mm-hmm. Friction stemming from.
Well, different interpretations, it seems, of what transparency and accountability mean, and maybe, for some, just a profound sense of betrayal, like a very specific promise wasn't kept.
And what's really illuminated here by the source material provided are those complexities around public trust and the huge challenges leaders face in managing expectations,
Yeah.
particularly when dealing with these really high-profile cases involving powerful figures. It's a delicate balance.
Often volatile, it seems.
Yeah, often volatile.
So maybe a final thought for you to consider, as you go about your day, just building on what we've discussed.
Yeah.
In an age where information just spreads like wildfire, right? And political promises are so visible,
Easily verifiable, yeah.
instantly verifiable. What does this specific instance, a political leader's actions as reported here, and their base's reaction, what might that tell us about the evolving nature of loyalty and maybe accountability in modern politics?